Hello, pre-algebra, pre-algebrosifs, pre-algebramen. Today, Monday, we've got 12.4. We're going over perimeter and circumference. Again, both of these are talking about the distance around a shape. Circumference is a particular type of perimeter. I'll get to all of that, all those details, etc., etc., etc. So the distance around a polygon, any polygon, again, polygon has many sides, we call that the perimeter. The distance around a circle is the circumference, or the perimeter of a circle, we call it the circumference. For perimeter, this is just an example of a polygon. This is a triangle, of course. You just add up the sides. So whatever the measure is, you add it together. Bada bing, bada boom. Now, if we have a quadrilateral, this is a rectangle. What we could do is we could do 2 times the length, right? Because this is also the length, and this is also the width. But we could just multiply 2 times the length and add that to 2 times the width. Again, these types of formulas, especially this one, is going to come in handy. Make sure you have it down. For a square, we could just do 4 times the sides. Each side is the same, so we could just do 4 times one of the sides to find a perimeter for that. Again, this looks like a parallelogram or maybe a rhombus, but this is going to be the same as this one up here. For a trapezoid, we're just going to add all the different sides together. Again, the nice thing about perimeter, a lot of it's just addition or simple multiplication, right? We're just multiplying by 2. That's no biggie. So I got some examples. Find the perimeter of, first one is a square with 8-meter side. So again, we're going to multiply our number by 4. 4 times 8 meters is 32 meters. For perimeter and circumference, our units are just straight units. We don't have any exponents there. It's not 32 meters squared because we're just measuring the single distance around. So it's just one dimension around the length of it. Right, so that would be like the perimeter around this piece of paper right here, right? Okay, number 2. An isosceles triangle, right? Isosceles triangle means that 2 of the sides are the same. So one of the, with one side of 9 meters and 2 sides of 10 meters. So that's going to look like, right, we have 2 that are the same. These are both 10. It tells us we have 2 sides of that. And then the third is 9. That's what that's looking like. That's what it's talking about. 29 meters in all. I could hear you guys now if we were in class. You're like, oh, that's easy. Oh, easy dubs. For sure. Absolutely. And I hope you're feeling that because this is a lot of review. Now, what we're going to, right, because we always do review and then we take it to the next step. What we're going to be doing is finding missing dimensions. So find the length of a side of the square with a perimeter of 12.4 inches. So the perimeter is 12.4 inches, right? So we know 4 times whatever our side is 4s. But in order to find the side, we take the perimeter and we divide it by 4. So 12.4 divided by 4 is 3.1. So our side is 3.1 inches. Okay. All right. Number 2, find the dimensions of a rectangle whose length is twice the width and whose perimeter is 42 centimeters. Okay, so this is what we know. Our length is 2 times the width. This is the typical perimeter formula, but instead of just width times 2, we're going to have 2 times our length, while our length is 2 times our width. So 2 times 2w plus 2w equals 42 centimeters. Right, I'm just plugging in what I've got here. Taking the information that I have, I drew myself a little picture. So that's going to give me 42 equals 4w plus 2w. So 42 equals 6w, but I'm looking for my width. So I'm going to divide that by 6. My width is 7 inches, but my length is twice my width, so that's going to be 14 inches. A lot on homework quizzes and tests is going to be this kind of stuff. So again, we're just taking what we know. Instead of calling this length, I'm calling it, like it says, twice my width. Anything that's twice is 2 times. We're going to have a lot of stuff like that, okay? All right, moving on. Moving on to circles. Circumference. So I've got this picture here. My nice little circle with all these different points. My diameter cuts the circle in half. A chord is any line that goes from edge to edge inside, but a diameter goes from edge to edge through the midpoint. This is the midpoint here. Then a radius is just a ray from the midpoint to somewhere on the edge. Again, it's important to know that our radius equals our diameter divided by 2, and our diameter equals 2 times the radius. The chord you don't really need to know about. We're not going to see a whole lot talking about chords in this chapter, but diameter and radius, these are the ones that you really got to focus in on. Okay. Now here's the formula for circumference of a circle. Circumference equals pi times our diameter. Remember, pi, we're probably going to use 3.14 most often. Or, again, it's 2 times the radius times pi. So pi is the ratio between the diameter and the circumference. So that's why we need to multiply by pi in order to get that. Okay, here's a few examples. So we're going to find the circumference. Again, we're using 3.14. If our radius is 5.3 centimeters. Okay. So we're going to use the formula that has our radius. Here I've got 6.28. Well, that's 3.14 times 2. So 2 times pi is 6.28 times 5.3. Now I've included the 0 because I'm lining up my decimal points. You don't need to for multiplication, but I did here. Now when you multiply this all the way out, you get 33.284 centimeters. Okay. Now what if our diameter is 8 feet? Am I going to multiply it by 2? No, because I've got my diameter, not my radius. So I'm going to use this formula, pi times my diameter. So 8 times 3.14 ends up with 25.12 feet. Again, it's just straight units, nothing squared. Please make sure you show your units. Now here, I didn't actually multiply it all the way out, but I showed my work. This is the step that I'm taking. So this is all you need to do, is just show me that you're multiplying these two things. If you just put it in the formula and then answered it out, that kind of works. Please just show the work, show the steps, so that way I know you guys know the process. That's what's most important to me, is that you guys know the process and aren't just plugging it into your calculator, okay? All right, moving on. Find the diameter. So again, we're working backwards here. We know how to find the circumference, but what if we're looking for the diameter? That's what we're doing in this one. Find the diameter and the radius of a circle with a circumference of 30 inches. So circumference equals pi times diameter, but my diameter is going to equal my circumference divided by pi. Again, I'm just dividing by pi here and here, and that's how I get the formula for my diameter. So if I plug in what I have into my original equation, 30 inches equals pi times diameter, I'm going to divide by pi, right? That's 3.14. And I'm going to end up with 9.6 inches. But it asks for both the diameter and the radius. I know my diameter is 2 times my radius, so I could divide by 2 and find that my radius is 4.8 inches. Okay. Now, this one is a little bit more extensive. I know there's some of these on homework quizzes and tests, so that's why we've got an example. Okay, so it's almost like a cylinder. It's a funny looking shape, but we'll just pretend that all of these are nice examples. So what I have here is I have half of a circle, and here I have the other half of the circle. So basically, I have an entire circle with these two portions in between, these two lengths in between. So I know in order to solve this, it's going to be my circumference, because I've got 1/2 plus 1/2, that's a whole circle, plus 8 plus 8. So in order to solve for the circumference, it's going to be pi times my diameter. My diameter is 4 inches. 3.14 times 4 is 12.6, or 12.56, excuse me. 12.56 plus 16 is 28.56 inches. Again, remember your units. Okay, guys, I kind of zoomed through this. There's 3 pages of notes. Hopefully you're able to follow along. If you do have questions, comments, you can email me, or you could comment down below. I'm frequently checking these videos and my emails throughout the day and the week. I hope you are able to nail this no problem. I have scheduled that your quiz is tomorrow. That's Tuesday. I'm probably going to come back today with a video on your quiz. That's 12.3 and 12.4. Going over it. Again, all these links are going to be in RenWeb, so you're able to follow it there. Any questions, comments, please don't hesitate to ask. Otherwise, love you guys. Bye.